the previous video, we have discussed on the output design. So this video will discuss on the input design. So input design is very crucial part on your information systems, because if you get wrong data, so your system will process wrong data and it will produce wrong output. Okay, what people say, garbage in, garbage out. So we do not want that kind of thing happen to our information system that we have developed. So in this input design, there are two types of input. Either it can be source documents, mean you give a form to your user and user fill up, then you need to key in again your what user already fill up into your system, or you can use data entry. Okay, the first thing, we go for the source document. So those source document, also known as a form, so it collect data from your user and it will trigger the authorize and input action and provide a record of the original transaction. So in a form or source document, you need to design your form very well. Have you experienced give up when you fill up the form? It may be because of the form design itself and the space that the one who designed the form give to the user is not enough. So when you design a form, you must make sure that your form is very clear enough and have space for your user in order to put the data or fill up the data. So this one is an example of the form. When you create a form, you must divide your form into several zones and make it clear, so easy for your user to understand what you want they to fill up. Okay. Another part is data entry screens. If you use a system in order to get the data, so you need to design your data entry screen very well. So data entry screen is used to capture data from your user. Either it can be automatically or manually. So data entry is the process of manually entering data into the information system. You can use a lot of input technology like keyboard, mouse, touchscreen, voice record, and so on. So source of data automation can be obtained by using many technologies. Okay, it can be by reader, QR code reader, okay, optical character recognition scanner, for example, magnetic strip reader, or smart card. So that are type of technology that we can use in order to get the data automatically. Okay, example scenario here, we have point to sell or POS terminal equipped with barcode scanners and magnetic swipe scanners in order to input the credit data. Automatic teller machine, ATM, read data on your bank card in order to read your account number and so on. Okay, factory employees who use the magnetic ID card to clock in and clock off, clock in and clock out. So there are kind of technology that you can use in order to get the data automatically. And then another part is validation rules. So validation rules is used in order to reduce the number of input error and improve the quality of data that entered to your system. So at least 8 type of data validation check is available. Okay, for example, you can have sequence check, when the data must be in some predetermined sequence based on the sequence. Second, you can have the existence check for mandatory data item. Number 3, you can have data type check. Okay, let's say your phone is in numeric, so you do not want your user enter text, so you can have data type check on that part. Number 4, you can have range check, the limitation, the range of number. For example, IC numbers only have 12 digit, so you don't allow your user to enter more than 12 digit or under than 12 digits. Okay, reasonable check, identify value that questionable but not necessarily wrong. Okay, another point is validity check on the referential integrity. And then we also have the combination check more than one variable or parameters. And number 8, we have the batch control to verify the batch input. So all the validation rules are being created in order to minimize the input from the user. Input volume reduction based on the validation part rules, and then this one we need to reduce the volume of input or volume of effort from the user. So to reduce the input volume, you must reduce the number of data item required for each transaction. So this part is to minimize the effort from your user. So general guideline for the input data, you can give input only necessary data. Unnecessary data, do not ask your user to key in. Let the system calculate or derive the data, and then use the business code where appropriate. Okay. There are several technology for the input that you can use. One of them is batch input. So batch input mean you schedule your input based on time, hourly, weekly. Okay. So advantage of the batch input, you can collecting and entering can be done by offline, not online. Okay, entering the data can be done by trained personnel, mean your workers are very trained in order to enter the data batch by batch. And processing can be done very quickly and done during not the peak hour. So you can reduce the network traffic in order to entering your data. Disadvantage of the batch input, the data collection actually has to be centralized activity, and data entry usually needs to be done by special trained personnel. Not everyone able to enter the data. The process activity is delayed, hence the possibility exists for the data to be considered old or untimely when it finally get processed, or maybe at the middle of process of entering the data, it may be some error, undetected error, or it can be also unrecognized error during the process of entering data. So that's several disadvantages of the batch input. And the next part is the online input. So advantage of this online input, you can get the data immediately. You can validate the data immediately. Okay, the data can be entered by its owner, not by the other person or the person. The other part, the data can be entered as close as their origination as possible, the original of data. The immediate feedback can be usually given regarding the correctness, the acceptability of the data, and the input can be immediately update the database and making it current as possible. So this is the advantages if we use the online input, or means the real-time input part. Okay, however, it also have the disadvantages. Equipment may be more costly to perform the input. Yes, okay, if everyone use it online, so you have heavy traffic during the hours, and users not always well trained in order to input the data. Compared to the batch input, you already have the personnel that well trained, so that personnel will enter the data, okay, in the data. If you use online, so you have multiple type of users, and not everyone are well trained, so certain part may have some issues. Okay, software must have additional control to handle. User data entry procedure control may be lacking, and data is often only entered during the business hours, so it will impact the normal computer load. Only when people are online, so data can be keyed in. So that's all for the data input.